To our ladies today, we want to focus on you because we understand the role you play in our society, in our family setup, is that you are the main foundation. You support the families 100% emotionally. And what we have seen is that women are selfless. And the biggest worry for women is what would happen if I'm not around. What would happen to my children? That is their biggest worry. Actually, the death is not really much of their worry, but the possibility of their children suffering simply because they are not around. And it's equally important that we look at how women perceive inheritance. So the first question I would like to ask is, are the women really involved? Do they care? Yeah, to even think of inheritance. So if there are parties in a family that are very, very affected in this entire process is women and children. That is why I've decided today to talk about ladies, because you can build. Yeah, you can help your man build wealth. You help them raise children. You help them acquire properties and lands and creating or building business. But majority of time you will discover that where women are more involved is emotionally. But in terms of structure, there is some kind of a gap. So that the moment you ask a woman, where is the title deed for that piece of land, they can't tell you. Where is the registration certificate for that business or title deed for that property? It's very, very difficult for them to tell you where exactly it is. And that is one of the biggest gaps that exist. So the moment that man you have built with all your selflessness dies, you find that you become very, very vulnerable. Yeah. And we have seen this in so many cases. When husband dies, the siblings of the husband sometimes becomes very, very greedy. They can evict your wife and children, or basically women and children are evicted out of your matrimonial home because the siblings feels entitled to get some of the properties. And that is why it's very important for women to bring up this kind of conversation to their family setup, because they are like two other areas that we don't even want to discuss. One is we don't want to discuss matters finances openly, and it is even harder for you to hear a family sitting and discussing about inheritance. Not unless the mzee is getting old, that is when they introduce such kind of topics. So women need to understand this. Sometimes you need to take up this responsibility, because you understand your man better, because you have seen him, how he behaves around money, around your children, and around your estate. So it would be much easier for you to bring up this topic so that you start preparing. Anything can happen. The question is, if that thing that you fear most happens, what happens to your children? Yeah, because the tone will definitely change. The way your brother-in-laws and your sister-in-laws talk to you in the presence of your husband, that tone, believe you me, can change the moment your husband is no more or is no longer there. They don't do it politely. At that time, it becomes more of they do it like in a disrespectful manner or in a disrespectful way. And that is why, as a woman, think of what you can do or what you should do in the event your husband is no longer there. My solution is simple. Create something we call trust fund. Trust fund ensures that the voice of the husband sticks the moment he's no longer there. Yeah, the rules that he sets up cannot be changed by the family members, and it cannot be changed by the trustee. That is another powerful thing about the trust. And thirdly is that the trust ensures some kind of continuity. The moment you are not there, the transfer of these assets becomes very, very seamless, that you don't even realize that our main guy is gone, because the trustee takes over and starts to execute what the intention of our guy were before the death. To form a trust, you just need something very, very small. It's actually free of charge to form a trust. But sometimes you need someone who have a technical knowledge about how you can set up these rules to favor you more in the absence of our main person. So if you are there and you are ready, please feel free to engage me. You can, and because I believe we still have a lot of single mothers who worry too much about what would happen if they are not there. We have a solution for you as a single mother. Maybe you have 1, 2, 3 children, and you want to ensure that your children will not be exposed, will not be exploited, even if you are not there. So my number is 0719265155. Of course, I will put it on the comment section so that you can follow up on any question you could be having. And if you have a friend, or you have anyone you know that have had a very painful story on inheritance, and a story that possibly would show the exploitation that goes on after the husband is gone, I would appreciate, and I would love to host them so that we can learn together and know on how to avert these